Leafs breaking news, for this nobody expected, our journalists got this valuable information. The speculation is strong and the president of the club wants to invest in this new player. But before talking about the news, I would like to ask you to subscribe to the channel to be able to pass the number of subscribers of Canadians. Together with you we will overcome them soon, and thus be the biggest news channel. The audacity of the Toronto Maple Leafs to believe they can contend with their current defensive lineup is almost beyond belief. The chances of the Toronto Maple Leafs winning the Stanley Cup with their current defensive roster are essentially non-existent. They lack a true number one defenseman, and there is no one on the team who appears poised to step up and fill that role. We momentarily interrupt the news to share a crucial announcement. We want to emphasize that if you want to continue receiving the latest updates through YouTube recommendations, it is of utmost importance that you leave your like on this video. Thank you in advance. We will now return to the ongoing news. Their most promising player is Liljegren, but even he has been benched by the coach in each of the last playoff seasons. They cannot compensate for their lack of elite talent with depth, because they simply don't have the necessary depth either. It's almost as if they believe they can succeed by relying on John Klingberg as a top-4 defenseman. But they can't. Players who were previously considered the weakest link on the weakest team in the league do not suddenly improve at age 31. Signing him to a $4 million contract will likely prove to be a regrettable decision. There is only one solution to this predicament, and Fraser Minten has played a significant role in making it a possibility. He has been among the top 20 players in training camp, and has rightfully earned his place on the Toronto Maple Leafs roster. This doesn't guarantee he will stay in the NHL. The NHL often exhibits an irrational and unscientific preference for experience, so teams typically opt for a mediocre veteran at the bottom of the lineup with limited potential over a 19-year-old, unless they have no other choice. Moreover, rather than recognizing the value of a roster piece earning the league minimum, teams tend to fret about burning a year of the entry-level contract. All of these factors make it unlikely that Minten will remain a Toronto Maple Leafs player beyond the first 10 games of the season, if he even gets that far. However, since he is evidently ready for NHL action, and the Leafs undeniably have a glaring deficiency on defense, his emergence could create an opportunity they might not have had otherwise. During the preseason, the Leafs experimented with William Nylander at center primarily due to their lack of depth, which otherwise forces them to deploy David Kampf as the third-line center. Minten changes the equation entirely. If he can effectively center a line featuring Max Domi and either Nick Robertson or Kalle Jarnkrok, and perform well in his minutes, the Leafs could abandon the idea of Nylander playing at center and instead trade him for a defenseman. I must admit, I've been skeptical about trading Nylander for the past 5 years, and often scoffed at trade proposals involving him. However, circumstances have changed. The Leafs once had Reilly, Muzzin, and Brodie in their prime years. Time has altered that landscape, and instead of boasting 3-star defensemen, the Leafs are uncertain whether they have even one. Trading from a position of strength to address a glaring weakness is precisely the strategy they should pursue. While having 3 elite forwards is fantastic, it becomes a luxury they can no longer afford when they lack star defensemen. What's up, fans? How are you interpreting this news? Do you feel in agreement, or do you have a dissenting perspective? Leave your analysis in the comments area. This feedback is of great importance for our beloved team to understand your opinion. Stay tuned, as I will be back with more information at any moment.